Mt. Gox coming in, of course, on a little bit of a wait on Bitcoin. We'll be breaking down today a little bit more about what this means for the market, because I don't necessarily think this could be a bad thing. Some people think it could be. We'll break it all down for you. My name is Paul Barrow. Welcome back into Tech Path. I want to thank our sponsor today, and that is Coinbase. If you're brand new to crypto, and I imagine there's a lot of you that are just getting into crypto for the first time, make sure and check out Coinbase as your centralized exchange to start your journey in crypto. There's many more things you can do, but this is a great place to get going. The future of money is here. The most trusted place for people and businesses to buy, sell, and use crypto. Use our link down below. It's going to give you $200 in crypto when you sign up. So get started, check it all out, and I think you guys might like your process of getting into crypto. Let's get into the Mt. Gox topic here. This headline right here, Mt. Gox shifts $9 billion in Bitcoin as the market braces for a little bit of impact. I'll explain that this may not have the same impact as what happened with Germany. One of the things, 140,000 Bitcoin, almost 9 billion, now going into a known cold wallet and 2 unknown addresses. Part of this will be rolling into some of what we'll see on Kraken, and we'll talk a little bit more about this. Arkham identified this. They said the update on the movements is most likely associated with Kraken, one of the exchanges that were involved in repaying the Mt. Gox creditors. So about 48,000, 3 billion or so coming in from Mt. Gox this morning, which remains unspent. Now, with that being stated, that was 3 billion there. You still have about almost 9 billion overall currently exposed in the market. Question will be this, is remember that Germany was pretty much a net zero. They were looking at completely evacuating everything they had in Bitcoin. These are all degen holders that have been around in the market for a long time. So yes, the negativity could still drive sentiment down, but really the sell pressure is what I'm going to be watching for. And also the sentiment on sell pressure. We'll talk a little bit about that in a minute when we get some charts a little bit later. By the way, if you've not hit the like button, make sure and do that right now. It's a great way for us to understand if you like these live streams. We tried something today a little bit different. We went live at the 2 o'clock because we have a special recording that we're going to be dropping. So let us know. Just click like and hit some comments down there. Other thing is, of course, Kraken's release plan, and that is this right here. They've received the funds. They're going to distribute within 7 to 14 days, so that must be from today. So what we're looking for is 7 days from today, the funds will start dropping in. So they're saying that this will be credited to your account. So depending on who is and what is, this is how it's going to be rolled out, at least that 3 billion worth for Kraken. Other things, the ETH ETFs are set to launch next Tuesday on the 23rd. And remember, this is a huge opportunity for Ethereum. A lot of timing here. When you look at the calendar, both from a political standpoint, the ETH ETF, the Bitcoin conference, and Mt. Gox all starting to flow into the market, this could be much more, I think, interesting in terms of market dynamics in the next 2 to 3 weeks than maybe we've seen all year. And of course, Bitcoin moving up to almost 65. I think it actually hit 65. So a lot happening. SEC has given the preliminary approval to at least 3 of the 8 spot ETF issuers to begin trading next Tuesday. And I think that will be the factor here. And that is whether or not it compares to what happened with the Bitcoin ETF. So think about that. And if whether you're an ETH maxi or you love ETH or you don't, maybe you're a Bitcoin guy or maybe you're into altcoins. Point here, I think, is how institutional is going to start to move into this. And one of the things you have to watch is the habits of institutions and whether or not they're going to be looking at this kind of opportunity as a huge opportunity. Bybit did a little bit of a report on this. This was back in June, and the institutional investors tripled their ETH exposure. It wasn't quite tripling, by the way, but they expectations here about capturing about 15 to 20% of the assets of Bitcoin ETFs in the US, translating to around 8 to 12 billion. That would be pretty big. I think this is still underpinning what could really happen. If you look at some of the charts right here, this was back in May 10. This is just so you guys know the European standard on the date. But May 10th on ETH, if you continue further another month later, June 14th, we almost double, a little over double. In terms of institutional grade investors. And then retail also didn't double down, but they went from 7% in May to about 9%. All of this anticipating what could be, as we all know, a run up in ETH trading at around 3,500 right now. So with the news of yesterday of the ETH ETF, and I think we're going to see some pretty big days ahead of Ethereum. Make sure and drop some questions in over the side. We'll try to get to that. And let us know on the poll as well. Give me your feedback there. ETH supply crisis is looming. This is something we've reported on quite a bit here, and that is that the exchange balances are down to 10%, while 39% of ETH is locked up. So you've got ETH moving down, and let me kind of explode this out and zoom out on this, because you've got the ETH exchange balance, which is the red line, the ETH supply in smart contracts, that's in stake, that's the blue line, and then the overall ETH price holding in right here. So you can see this is a very interesting time, I think, for Ethereum as a whole in supply and availability, along with total value locked up in ETH. Could push ETH into a place we have not seen before, including an all-time high. So I'm still very bullish on this potentially being a much bigger ETF launch than anticipated. Other things that are out there, Donald Trump, of course, announced J.D. Vance will be his running mate. And as you guys know, J.D. Vance is pro-crypto. He has been very anti-SEC. He's been on record with that. And I think this could play into some pretty good signs for crypto as a whole. Here's, of course, Ryan Sean Adams talking about it, J.D. Vance as the pick. He voted SAB 121 repeal, so that he's a holder of Bitcoin, likely more now. He's also slammed Gensler and evidence, which I think is going to be that we are going to have a pro-crypto White House. I believe that that's going to happen. So big opportunities, and I think the market will continue to start to showcase that. I want to get into an analyst that is talking about the price trajectory. I mean, everybody always wants to know where's the price going on Bitcoin. We don't give them, but other analysts do. Let's go to that clip.
As Trump rises in the polls and the prediction markets, crypto is reacting. Bitcoin higher today, along with pretty much every other crypto-related stock. Names like Coinbase, MicroStrategy, Riot Platforms, Marathon Digital, and a lot of small caps making investors and traders money today. Trump trying to position himself as the pro-crypto candidate. So is Bitcoin now also officially a Trump trade?
For three reasons: regulatory, sort of macro backdrop, and I think also correlation to the growth trade, the new exponential age. I think this is the time that launches us through, and I see no reason that we can't hit over 100,000 this go around.
What does this go around mean? Like not tomorrow, but like not 20 years from now either, I assume.
No, I mean, so again, the old high was November of 21, 70,000 down to 16. So it took us another 3 years to get back up to this breakout. We're sort of in a consolidation, technically speaking, that was seen last summer. So we have a little bit of seasonality working here. So I would say that along with the market and provided interest rates and the regulatory backdrop cooperates, we should be able to make that move this year.
All right, so that move this year, meaning that we could continue to see this rolling out. There is a handful of theories out there that if Trump does get elected to office, is that we could see a complete reversal on the markets, meaning we could see some problems. And we'll get into more of that down the road. I have some anticipation videos that we'll be talking about as things start to soften up on interest rates. Bitcoin ETFs now receiving 300 million in inflows, extending a positive streak. This is big because it continues to push what I think is the narrative for digital assets. And this is the 7th consecutive day of positive growth driven by increasing investor interest in Bitcoin. I think we're going to continue to see that push, much to what that analyst said. BlackRock's iBet, of course, is leading the way with around 117.25 million. ARK came in right there behind it at 117.19. And then the surge is also part of a broader market trend, with ETFs collectively amassing 16 billion in net investments. I mean, would you imagine a year ago that we'd be talking about 100 or 16 billion moving in net assets since the launch in January? That's just insane in terms of the size. So look at that compared to what we'll see, I think, which is a little bit more in the tune of balancing portfolios and looking forward into other alternatives of digital assets, because BlackRock has already kind of, I think, shown their hand around Ethereum. That's why I think ETH is going to be a very popular opportunity in Bitcoin. Other things that are happening out there right now, this of course is Skybridge on the hot seat a bit with their investors. One of the reasons is the investors are still waiting to withdraw their funds because there's a bit of a hold there. This has been going on for some time, but this was back in April to March of end of March 2024, coinciding with the same year, tenfold rise of the value of Bitcoin. Investors now on Skybridge cannot generate near zero returns when Bitcoin rose by 60%. Mainly what they're saying is investors aren't making money with Skybridge. Not sure what's going here other than maybe their buying position of where they were at the time and they're just trying to hold and salvage the fund and keep it in a position. But these are the kind of things that will hit the market. Yes, we'll see, up and downs, but I think overall the market is super healthy right now. Key here again goes back to two things, and that is inflation and of course interest rates. Those two scenarios still have to pressure into where the markets are going to trend. And then you apply in the potential political landscape being positive for crypto, and now you have a good mix. And that's one of the reasons I think we'll see more bullish signs going forward here. Even though the Mt. Gox situation, I think, is one that we have to pay attention to. Yes, it could spoil, and yes, we could see a retraction of Bitcoin if people are starting to sell off, because this is a nice run from around 58 to around 65 in a matter of a couple of weeks. So maybe timing is going to be keeping the OGs at bay, thinking, all right, well, maybe this is our run to 100K. Why would I sell at 65? That's one thing to look at. S&P 500 heading for its longest streak without a 2% drop since 2007. This is the one concern I have, and that is the S&P. Many people say this is just going to be an up-only market from here on out, that the productivity opportunities are too great. There are too many institutions that are all in on where AI is going. You have the potential here on real-world assets now getting into the security layer in terms of blockchain. And you have all of Wall Street now doubling down in what digital assets are going to be, which means that you're going to probably start to see some of this break through on the S&P 500. And it's, they were talking about it earlier, some of the crypto-related stocks, but things like Coinbase, obviously Robinhood. But I think we'll start to see a lot more public companies that come out that are more related to blockchain than many think, or at least we'll have a big play in that. I want to go to another clip here, because this is a clip on the Fed hinting when these rate cuts might happen, because this is a big trigger. Take a look.
This year, we had expected the economy to slow a bit gradually, the labor market to continue to gradually cool off after being overheated a couple of years ago, and inflation to continue to make progress. And something like that is basically what has happened. The economy is growing now at about 1.5% in the first half of the year. Most forecasters have about a 2% growth rate for the full year. The labor market, again, has moved into better and better balance to the point where I think you can now say it's essentially no tighter than it was in 2019 before the pandemic. Remember that the labor market of 2019 was a very strong labor market. So we're back to that place, no longer overheated. On inflation, in the first quarter, we didn't make any more progress. The second quarter, actually, we did make some more progress. We've had now 3 better readings, and if you average them, that's a pretty good pace. So turning to policy, your question, what we've said is that we didn't think it would be appropriate to begin to loosen policy until we had greater confidence that inflation was moving sustainably down to 2%. We've been waiting on that, and I would say we didn't gain any additional confidence in the first quarter, but the 3 readings in the second quarter, including the one from last week, do add somewhat to confidence.
All right, so the point is that we got a rate cut coming in. Now, granted, there's the one thing you have to look for, and that is CPI coming this month. And if we continue to see, especially if we see a sub 3, if we see a sub 3% on CPI, green light's on. I think Fed will have the clear, and it could be a strategic play still for a Democratic White House that would be playing into a very positive narrative going into the final election days, and that is still a very strong stock market, interest rates starting to potentially soften, and of course, inflation starting to soften. All those things would be positive for the Democratic Party. So that still plays into my thinking, because everything, listen, guys, we've got 4 months going into November. A lot can happen with that. And I think that the political landscape is more charged right now in terms of its effect on crypto than a lot of people think. So pay attention out there. A lot of that is happening. We're going to get to some of your questions. We'll take a look at some of the charts I want to go into Bitcoin today. Where are we on Bitcoin? Right at 64.7 right now. By the way, this is our new indicator that is available for all of our MSI members, and you'll be able to get this. This is the PBN indicator. It's called the MSI 2.0. We use it for both sentiment tracking and also money flow. And you can kind of see a little bit of the sentiment movement up right here on Bitcoin as it charted that, a little bit of money flow coming back in. And if you look at sentiment, I'll zoom in on this right here for you guys. You can kind of see trade sentiment holding strong on Bitcoin right now. So not bad at all. So as we look at that, ETH, that's the other one I wanted to look at. Also very strong. We'll wait for that to paint up. Definitely going into a zone that could start to look pretty interesting around this 3,600 range and on up into 3,800. And of course, right now, money flow is starting to temper out as well. We'll get to a few questions, but before we do that, let's go take a look at the poll real quick. Then we'll get back to some charts here. What do we have? Okay, how will crypto market sentiment fare over the next week? Positive, 76%. Negative on the Mt. Gox. I'm in agreement with the populace here, and I think that is we're going to see positive. Only because there's so many positive things. ETH, ETF, that'll be positive. I feel that. The political landscape, positive right now. Granted, there's going to be some things that happen between now and November that will start to twist the narratives a bit, but for the most part, positive. Now we know who the VP running mate is, and it's a pro-crypto, so that in itself. Remember, you got the Bitcoin conference happening. You'll have RFK there. You'll have Trump and now JD Vance there, most likely. And of course, you have a whole slew of scenarios that be playing out within the ETF. At the same time, you've got that going on. You've got interest, CPI. You guys get it. I mean, there's enough here that we should see some pretty big impacts. If we don't, then something is amiss in the markets for sure. Let's get to a couple of questions. Colin says, could be the last chance to buy the dip. Maybe. I mean, what dip are we talking about, though? Right now, Bitcoin is still up on the week, still up on the day, too. So we'll be glad when Mt. Gox is behind us. I totally agree with that. Market is going to soak up the Mt. Gox like it's nothing. Germany dumping to 50. Dumping 50K had no effect on the price. So it did have effect on the price, guys. Let's be honest. This is Germany right here. That's Germany. Just so we're clear. Let's start back here around June 6th and down to its low. That's a 24% move. So that's on ETH. And if you look at Bitcoin, same scenario. Market, Bitcoin drives it back down to here, and you're at 21%. So still a positive, I think, going forward. Okay, what are OGs going to transition into? That'll be a good question if they move at all. Because they may say, hey, I'm just going to ride this out. Or if I did sell, where would I go? I think some of the EOGs would just stay in Bitcoin. Now, some might go into ETH, maybe XRP or other tokens that could play into this. Nothing compares to the German thing. I'm kind of in agreement because that's an all or nothing event where this is a much more narrative of I may not sell, I could sell, I'm going to hold to 100. I mean, there's a lot of variables. Germany was just like, hey, it's out. This wallet is going to empty. Might be people moving into XRP, fear of Mt. Gox. Don't think that's necessarily the case, but I think XRP could be an alternative, sure. Something going on with XRP today. Let's take a look at where XRP is right now. Chart is still very strong on the day. Let's see what the sentiment is on fire with XRP. Jeez. 70% on trade sentiment, volume sentiment holding at 68. Our signal right now still very strong. What is the money flow here? Let me zoom out on that. Oh, it's getting ready to go positive right now on money flow. Plus, you look at order blocks. The next one doesn't hit till around 65. Could be nice for SRP holders. Eden says no Bitcoin crash coming. I think we might see a little bit of a retracement, just a slight, but maybe not necessarily a crash like what we saw earlier. Do you see the pumping or dumping on the 23rd? ETH. I think we're still going to see ETH moving up. I don't think when you say a dump, what do you mean by a dump? Is that just like 3, 4, 5%, or a 30%, or a 20% dump? Definitely, I don't think that would happen. Daddy Chill is back in the comments again, spewing stuff I do not understand. What is it? He just does this so he can get on the show, I think. So anyway, not going to happen. Paul, do a poll. Would you sell your Bitcoin from Mt. Gox? From Mt. Gox. Colin McDonald's, would we sell? I would say no. I wouldn't. If I was a Mt. Gox holder, I would say no. I would not sell it right now. When share comes in, enough with the FUD. I agree. There is no really FUD here. This is just simply stating some of the things that are happening. But I think there's too many positive things that are still leaning into a very positive market. And we'll see how this plays out, guys, because the next 10 days, big things will be happening. The Bitcoin conference, we'll see a lot happening there. Maybe some, I love that. I caught that too, by the way. I love it. You know, our audience is the best, man. You guys are the greatest. There is no other audience in crypto like the Fivian audience, that's for sure. Anyway, you guys are not tuned in on the Diamond Circle. Maybe that's why you need to get and join, because you can join the rest of the Mt. Gox guys out there and get going. And all you have to do is click the link down below. You'll get into the Diamond Circle. It's additional content. We have all sorts of cool, juicy stuff over there for you, so you don't want to miss that. And if you want to get into the MSI, we have a tool for that. You can get it on TradingView now, so it's all available to you. And of course, if you're not following me on Twitter, on X, get out there now. It's just @PaulBaron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.